Okay, so let's get back to the point of absolute path and relative path. And in this video, we are going to talk about the concept of absolute path. So, the idea behind understanding the absolute path and relative path is that when you're going to work with the commands, you have to give the name of a file or directory. Fine. Now, whenever you are going to point to a file or a directory with your command, fine, at that time, it can be given as relative or absolute path. Now, the idea behind absolute path is that it always starts from root. Now this structure we have seen again and again, and this is the representation of file hierarchy system, though everything is not shown over here. But the point is that once you install Linux, and that particular running Linux or that instance of Linux which you are running shows you the representation of your whole systems, files, folders, mount points, devices, everything from a top level directory called as root, which is represented by slash. This we had discussed during the installation. Now, an absolute path is simple to understand because the reference to any file or directory will start from the root. That means your path will always start with a slash. So if your path is starting or your reference to the file is starting with a slash, that is an absolute path. So over here, if I wanted to refer to any file irrespective of where I am located, maybe the user's current working directories, a downloads, or wherever, the absolute path is always given from root. Fine. So it is immaterial where you are located, the file will be referred from the top level. So what it means is that if I wanted to refer to this particular file resume, my path will become slash and I have to traverse to home. So it becomes slash home, slash the separator for this folder user A, then slash documents, and then slash resume. Okay, so let's take editor over here and let's try to note down that particular concept of absolute path. Like what I'm trying to say is, so for this particular file resume, the absolute path is going to be slash home slash go to user A, user U is in capital, user A, and then slash the another separator, documents, and then RESUM. Similarly, if you wanted to refer to a file X resources over here, the absolute path is going to be root, travel to the folder that is etc, then travel to this folder or directory X11, then X resources. So it becomes etc slash X11 slash X X resources. Fine. Similarly, you could refer to any file like here, this ls file is there, so it will become slash bin slash ls. So absolute path concept is quite simple, that you refer to the file or directory from the top level. Absolute paths, remember, always start with this. You have to be careful while giving the relative paths, which we'll be discussing in the next video, that they usually will not start from the slash. Fine, anything starting from slash is usually considered as an absolute path. So this is quite simple. So I will show you one example how to use the absolute path. We will use a command called as called as file, or let's simply use ls with option L. Fine, and I'm going to pass the parameter of file name. So if I say ls slash, that's root, I'm just giving the root. So it's going to list me the files and directories in long format under root. Now there are common files that are available. If I do a ls slash etc slash x11 slash x resources, which we saw over there, fine, under this there is some file x11 common. Let's have a look at this file, it displays that. And let's have a look at with ls-l. So now I am referring to each file with the complete path irrespective of where I am located. Fine. So if we do a ls over here, let's say I wanted to refer to this directory called as music. So the absolute path is going to be coming from all the way from root. So it is going to be slash home slash dexter slash music. Okay, and let's do ls-l of this. So it basically displays the content of that directory where there are no files over here. But the point to understand is that whenever I give the complete path starting from root to the directory or the file, this is referred as an absolute path. Now, the point is that when you are already located in a particular folder or directory, fine, then most probably you don't want to give this complete path, and that kind of path reference is referred as a relative path. And in the next video we are going to discuss about the concept of relative path.